Hey everyone, welcome back to the Underwear channel. This is episode 2, and I'm excited to break down kind of my full episode, first full episode into styles of underwear. And this might surprise some people. This might not surprise other people, depending on how much you have really kind of done some research into different styles of underwear. There is more styles than I think most people think for men's underwear, and so I'm going to break down some of the basics, kind of go through them. Kind of gonna go from long to short, or most modest to most skin showing, if you will. So the first style, actually, I don't. Well, as far as from longest, I guess this would be the first one. And this would be what I call a long boxer brief, a long leg boxer brief style. The legs on these go just above the knees for me. This brand is Cock Socks. It's one of my favorite brands out there. One thing I like about it is that the pouch, there's actually a little bit more of a pouch on their boxer briefs compared to some other ones that might not have much of anything. And overall, I like these in the wintertime. This is what keeps me the warmest, as suspected. And so I guess with that, I'll move on to the next one. Actually, I don't have the next one. But I definitely got to bring it up because it is style underwear that some guys wear, and that would be boxers. That's one style I got rid of because I don't wear them. It's a style I used to wear when I was younger, when it was the cool thing to do. But as I got older, I kind of realized that I prefer more support in my underwear, and boxers don't really offer that. So, if you're into boxers, that's cool. I know some people will cringe from me saying that, but whatever you'd like. So, I guess one thing to mention before I move on is, if you're a lady, woman looking at this video, trying to just learn more about maybe your man and what underwear styles you can get him and so on. I'll try to kind of give you the rundown here of some different options that you can get. Same thing for men, if you're looking for yourself or if you've got a male partner. Definitely keep in touch with some of the videos that I hope to post here in the coming weeks and months, and yeah, we'll go from there. Hopefully we'll learn something new. So all right, moving on. So long leg boxer briefs, and then you've got boxers, which are pretty much shorts, if you will. Next is what I would consider a normal boxer brief. Medium leg length, nothing crazy long, nothing crazy short. This is a brand called Garcon. They have a little bit of a pouch as well, which I like. It's, again, more of a higher end brand. I love the colors with this particular brand. So yeah, I mean, boxer briefs, they're obviously have more support than boxers, but they have the little bit more coverage than a brief. So it's a nice mix between the two. I definitely keep this in my rotation. For me personally, I keep it more in my rotation in wintertime. So yeah, that would be the next style there. Next one really quickly is short leg boxer briefs. Pretty much the same thing, just the legs are just a little bit shorter. Similar overall besides that. I guess one knock, if I had to think of something on boxers and boxer briefs, is depending on the brand and the quality and so on. If you have tighter pants, you may notice that every time you put on your pants that you have to then kind of reach through your pants and pull down the legs on the material because they end up bunching up when you put your jeans on or whatever tight pants you might be wearing, which can get annoying. That's one of the reasons I don't wear boxers as well. I feel like most brands are starting to figure it out on what kind of elastic and things to do to prevent that from happening, but it definitely can happen. Actually, one other thing I wanted to mention about boxer briefs, if you do wear tighter pants, I've noticed that sometimes you can see this elastic through the pants. And some people don't notice, some people do. Maybe it's just because I have a little bit more of a passion for underwear. I happen to notice, I don't know. But that is something to keep in mind, where maybe a skimpier style actually might work out better if that's your style, to go with a tighter pant, style. So, all right, short leg boxer briefs. And then next is these beautiful trunks, nice and bright orange. Calvin Klein is one of the first brands that I started with, as far as a high-end underwear brand. And I used to love trunks. I still love trunks, but I used to love trunks probably the most back in my early 20s, when I mainly wore Calvin Kleins, and I just kind of rotated between briefs and trunks and boxer briefs. What I loved about trunks, and I still do, is that it's a little bit more of a modest style than briefs. But if you're kind of sick of your material rolling up when you put on pants, this kind of took that out of the equation, because there isn't as much, or really, much leg material. But it was more modest because it still covers up more of your legs than what a brief would. So that's something I like about it. It's a cool cut. It's kind of like the comparison of the boy shorts, in my opinion. The ladies' boy shorts is the trunks. The only thing is, I would say the material comes down a little bit more than what a boy short would. The boy shorts tend to tease the bottom of the butt cheeks just a little bit. And I don't think that happens too much on the trunk style. If you get crazy and want to really be a little bit more sexy with it, you can get what I picked up recently in the last few months, is a backless trunk. Or some people might call it a jock trunk. So one thing that I do like about backless underwear, besides it being a little bit more spontaneous and sexy and thrilling, if you will, is not have to worrying about wedgies at all. And I think that's probably more the case with briefs. Sometimes briefs can give you wedgies. At least it depends on the brand and style and fit and size and a bunch of different combinations. But that kind of takes that out of the equation. Also, if you're doing sports or something, this is obviously the easiest way to air things out in the back, so you're not getting this like sweaty material, especially in the back. It gets kind of icky and gross, so this obviously avoids that. So there's a lot of benefits to going with something like this. Next is more of a standard brief, if you will, a little bit wider material here. I don't have your typical tighty-whitey, where that's typically more of a higher rise, more material here. It's just not my thing, but if that's your thing, go for it. That's cool. I know there's a huge tighty-whitey community. If you watch, every once in a while I will promote UNB podcast, which is Underwear News Briefs podcasts where they all talk about underwear all the time, interview different people. It's a lot of fun, different topics. You definitely should check them out. They just had a Tidy Whitey show where they had a few guys on and kind of showed why they like Tidy Whiteys. I could see more of the appeal in like more of like a hip style, which actually I'll get into next. That's more this style where there's just a little bit less material, a little bit more of a low rise style to it. I could see that in a Tidy Whitey being somewhat appealing, for some guys. I think that's a classic look. So if that's your thing, go for it. More power to you. That's the thing about this kind of show is I have my own opinion. People have different opinions than me, and that is totally okay. And I am all right with that. So if I say something, where I don't personally like that style, then don't worry about it. It's okay. Everyone has their own thing. With that, I actually just realized that I forgot to pull out a style. And let me see if I can just find one really quick. I'm sure you won't mind me browsing through. The reason I kind of forgot this style is because I don't have too many of them. And here we go. Another style that I forgot that I just picked up one of my first pairs and that's the bikini style. So the hip brief is what I call it. Some people call it a sport brief, depending on the brand. I call this a hip brief. I think Calvin Klein calls this a hip brief style. It's pretty much the same thing as the bikini, except the bikini doesn't have the waistband. There's a thicker waistband to this. This just has more of the material kind of waistband to it. Sometimes this is really more like just an elastic strip. It's not even a wide strip. This probably isn't even a full actual bikini style, but it still has the smaller material here. Some guys like that. For me personally, I just like the logos on. I think it looks sexy. Some people don't like to be an advertisement, and I get that, but that's more my thing, so I tend to gravitate towards those than these. But a lot of people really like bikini style. It's, it can be really comfortable. Some people feel like this kind of waistband digs into their, and that might just be a size thing, who knows, but sometimes they just don't like that. It's more of a harsher to have this kind of a waistband. So yeah, you can definitely check out like a bikini style. Next is what I would consider a sport brief, and that is where you have a little bit of no material and just the waistband itself between the front pouch and the back. Some people consider this a tanga style, depending on where you are in the world. Everyone has their own names, and each brand calls something differently. But I call this one more of a sport brief. This one I think is a lot of fun because it has a little bit of sexiness to it, where it cuts a little bit and shows off a little bit more, but it still has that normal brief feel to it. You don't have to really be embarrassed if you bend over and you show a little bit of underwear in the back. You're not, exposing a thong or something where some people might gasp and freak out. So it's still a safe option, but still has a little bit of sexiness to it. So that's a great way to go. Next is a cheeky style. This I feel like has always been more of a women's style that has been promoted, and I feel like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but recently I feel like they're starting to come out with a few cheeky styles for men, just depending on the brand. Some people will put a cheeky style out there. I think it's a lot of fun. I love this. It basically just cuts your butt cheek in half, essentially. you kind of feel it a little bit more. I feel sexy in it when I wear these, because I'm kind of reminded I'm wearing something fun and looks sexy, because half of your butt cheeks are exposed when you show them off. So I just think it's a fun style to play with. So that is that. Next is your typical jock strap. Jock straps. There is athletic jock straps, and then there's more designer jock straps. I feel like I have more designer ones. But with jock straps, I will say they probably have one of the best support out of any style underwear. Just the thick, I feel like the thick elastic for the back straps just provide a lot of support for your package in the front to just keep everything in place. Maybe it's a little bit too much information, but when I had a vasectomy, jock straps were like my best friend during that time, during recovery, because nothing moved, everything was supported perfectly, and that's exactly what you want. I remember going into the meeting, getting ready to have a vasectomy, and I asked them, is there style underwear that I should wear? I don't want to wear something that, will hurt if I'm supposed to wear something in particular. And I remember the doctor just said, you just wear boxer briefs or something supportive. And I think he said that because that's just the most common style out there that has some support to it. But I don't know if it was just the one that I chose, but there wasn't nearly enough support with a boxer brief compared to a jock strap, and it hurt a lot more not to have that support. So if you need something that really is supportive, especially if you do sports or something like that and you don't want things moving all around, if you feel like that's uncomfortable, jock straps is a great way to go. Next is a jock brief. This is probably one of my favorite styles because it's I feel like it's a little bit safer of a style if for some reason you do bend over and you don't want to expose just a waistband with just your skin showing right below that. This has a little bit more material right below the waistband, but still has that sexiness of that exposed backside. I kind of think it's the best of both worlds, where you get the comfort of a brief without the wedgies that you could get with normal briefs. Sometimes the brief fabric, just depending on the brand, size, all that fun stuff, sometimes it'll give you a wedgie. And then obviously if you don't have any material there, then you can't get a wedgie. So I feel like not a lot of, only certain brands carry this style, and I wish more did. I feel like I would own more of them. I just have a handful of them, but it is one of my favorite styles. Next, this is just kind of a one-off crazy style that you don't see too often, but this is a fun one where this is actually a jock thong. So there's a thong strap in the middle, and then there's also the side straps for a jock, and it's a fun, playful style, very erotic and sexy. This one in particular supports really well, while also having that thong strap in the middle, which can be fun. So just figured I'd mention that one as well. Next is the thong. So thongs, I feel like I'm probably gonna do like more of a deep dive into it, just because there's such a stigma with thongs and guys wearing thongs. And without getting into too much detail, I guess let me just say it's just really too bad that there's such a stigma around guys wearing thongs, that it's something that a lot of people make fun of and so on, but they really can be, I would say, between a jockstrap and a thong, these are the two most supportive styles of underwear out there. And when you get used to it, they can be very comfortable. And then you don't have to worry about underwear lines. If you do wear tighter pants, they support great, they feel great. And again, when you have a nice quality brand, get the right size, read some reviews, see what other people think. If you make an educated purchase and am open to the idea of wearing a thong and want to try to give it a try and like it, I think your odds of eventually liking them are very high. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time. Don't judge it just on your first go around. Give it a few tries. Sometimes you got to get used to it. Your body just has to get used to that material in the middle. Again, I'll kind of do more of a deep dive probably into thongs at some point. So this is a thong that has a little bit of material around the waist. Probably a little bit more of a safer option, so that if you do bend over and you don't want, if it's just not appropriate, like if you're at work or something like that and it's just not appropriate to expose that, you might be a little bit safer where the material, no one would think anything of it because they just see material below the waistband. I think this is actually one of the more comfortable styles of thongs. I always thought the wider material would be less comfortable, but actually the wider material for me has less of a focus on like a particular, just like a string. Sometimes I feel like, and maybe I'm just wearing the wrong size for some, but sometimes I feel like it's kind of cutting me off. But with this, a wider material sometimes is better. But everyone has their own thing. Some people prefer just G-strings, and I do have some G-strings that I find really comfortable. But this particular style of thong, I find great. So next is a thong as well, but it doesn't have that material around the waist on both sides. So it's just a waistband, a pouch. Again, they do a great job with a lot of brands to provide a great pouch, so everything's supported well, can fit well. And then on the back, typically you just have like some kind of a triangle in the back. So moving on, last but not least, for me at least, that I have is your G-string. So this one is just a string around the sides with the pouch, and then you've got typically some kind of triangle in the backs. If it's just the string, to me, if it's just string and then string meeting up, that's more like a T-string. I've just considered this a normal G-string underwear, and this one can be great, especially if I need that minimalist kind of look. If you're wearing jogging, spandex, anything like that, and you really don't want to show any lines, this is probably the best way to go. It can be a fun, very sexy style out there, supports well and all that good stuff as well. So that's all I got for you for styles of underwear. There are more, like I can branch into, with jock straps, like this one in particular, the leg strap meets back up on the front of the pouch, rather than the jock strap that I showed you is a more traditional style. The strap meets on the side. So there's all sorts of variations of these styles of underwear, just depending on which brand you get and what they want to do with it. So there's probably a few that I'm missing, but these are some of the main different styles for you to choose from. So comment any questions you have. Speaking of comments, thank you for commenting on the first video that I posted. I really appreciate your support. I know I can't probably address every single comment, but I know there was one guy in the first video that mentioned that to talk about size and fit and pouch. So I want to touch on that briefly, no pun intended. As far as size goes, definitely read reviews and look at your size chart. There's nothing worse than paying for high-end underwear that you might pay a little bit more than your typical Hanes or Fruit of the Loom and getting the wrong size. Happens to me every once in a while, sometimes in between sizes, and you just got to pick one. What I try to do is read reviews from the website and maybe some different blogs, like UNB blog has some reviews up. I have some reviews up on my blog page as well. Check out the website and try to make a very educated purchase. But as far as pouches go, really quick, there are a few different styles of pouches depending on what brand you get and what style they're after. Coxsocks in particular is a great example of a few different pouches they offer. This is more of an enhanced pouch. So with this kind of pouch, they definitely give you a lot more room. Some guys really like it. I love it. But it definitely is going to bring your package out. So if you are wearing like tight pants, like when I wear pajamas at night, and it's a very loose fitting material that kind of shows a little bit more, it's definitely going to show your package off a little bit more. So it definitely is can be a sexy look, but you got to think about what you're wearing over it as well. Compared to like this particular jock strap, there's enough room to fit everything, but it doesn't have the same kind of bump out, if you will. And I don't know if I can show this or not, but you can kind of see the difference between the two. This is, this one's coming out a lot more than this one. So this kind of holds everything in. And Coxsocks, depending on what style you get, I think some of their briefs is more like the CIN2 style, where it's a little bit more of a snug fit, is what they would call it. So experiment with that, see if you like more of the enhanced pouches, or if you like more of the snug fit where things are kind of held more together and closer to your body. I am good either way, but some people just have a preference one over the other, so that's definitely something to check out. And I think that's all I got for you guys for today. So again, comment and like this video. If you're on social media and you see my post on this, if you could retweet it, I'd love to just kind of get the word out. I think a cool benefit of having this kind of thing rather than just a blog where you're reading words is that I can show you what I'm talking about. So I plan to do some reviews when I get new underwear. Maybe that's what I'll do with some of the newer pairs that I got recently. Who knows? So with that being said, I'll put the different places you can see me in the tab below, but quick overview: Twitter and Instagram. Reach me at Underwear Review 1. Underwear Review shares the letter R and then just the number 1 at the end. And then Underwear Review 1.home.blog for my blog, although that one has 2 R's between the underwear and review. All right, thank you guys so much for checking it out, and we'll catch you next time.